Excuse me. I was just meditating upon the inner meanings and deeper meanings of the dividend discount model. Sorry about that. Dear students, let's get started again on slide 21 with the discounted cash flow model. Dear students, this is the best model in my humble opinion, at least the best one I've found, for companies that are growing dividends and even for companies that are not paying and growing dividends. A powerful version of the dividend discount model is the discounted cash flow model. There's that word again, discount. The value of the stock is equal to the present value of all expected future annual cash flows. Now, here's the scary formula. It's really not that hard. The cash flow in year number one, that's what the 1 stands for, divided by 1 plus the required rate of return, the discount rate, the expected rate of return. And then the cash flow in year number 2 divided by the 1 plus the rate squared. And then the cash flow in year number 3 divided by 1 plus rate to the third power. Ooh, exponentiation. Don't worry. Etc., etc., etc. Now, 3, 4, 5 years, that's about all we would ever want to try to predict. So let's think of a company that's paying annual dividends of $10 per share for 3 years and then 0 dividends from then on. Okay, all right. Our required rate of return is only 7%. So if you do the exponential calculations, and you don't have to, don't worry about it, I've already done them. I checked it. That's $10, the first dividend in year number 1 divided by 1.07, plus $10 in year number 2 divided by 1.07 squared, plus $10 divided by 1.07 to the third power. And that tells us the company should be worth $26.24. But how often do companies pay 3 annual dividends and then promptly go out of business? Plus, we keep using this term present value. Present value. What does present value mean anyway? What are we talking about, Payano? Present value is the value today, in the present, of a lump sum or series of payments to be received at some future date. Now, it's the opposite of future value. Mathematicians use the term inverse. Did you work on the optional future value calculations, or do you remember them from Business 121, Financial Planning and Money Management? Computing the future value is taking a sum today and seeing what it will be worth in the future. We call that compounding. For example, if we had $10,000 today and we got 10% over the next 10 years, that is 10,000 times 2.594. Where do we get that? We got that from the future value tables. If you didn't do the future value calculations, don't worry about it. But that's equal to $25,940. And there's the formula, but don't worry about it. You don't have to do it. What if we knew we were going to get $25,940 in 10 years and we required a discount rate, a required rate of return of 10%? That would be $25,940 times the present value multiplier for 10 years at 10%, 0.386, or $10,000. So what would you rather have? $25,940 10 years from now, or $10,000 today? If our required rate of return is 10%, they are equivalent. It doesn't matter. You could take $10,000 today or $25,940 10 years from now. They are just two sides of the same coin. In finance, present value tells us what the future value is worth today. That's why it's called the present value. Computing the present value is called discounting. I know, it sounds dumb, but get used to it because that's the term we use. It has nothing to do with going to the store and getting a discount. Compounding into the future value, discounting from the future back to the present, that's what we're going to do. We're going to calculate the present value. So, did the formula scare you? Ooh, it's got exponentiation. Look, we promised you, you just need a 99-cent calculator. And I'm not lying. This formula has the present value calculation built into it. We mere mortals simply use the present value tables to discount, that's the verb we use, to discount the future annual cash flows, just as we use the future value tables in chapter 1 optionally. So then the formula becomes the cash flow in year number 1, that's what the 1 stands for, times the present value multiplier for year number 1, plus the cash flow in year number 2 times the present value multiplier for year number 2, plus the cash flow for year number 3 times the present value multiplier for year number 3. And we add those up, and that gives us the present value. Now, we promised you that you do not have to use an exponential calculator. A 99-cent calculator does the trick. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to use the present value multipliers from the present value table on the class website. And there's the link, and I already have it up on the I already have it here. Here it is. All I got to do is click on the present value table, and bingo, there it is. Now, I know it looks scary. It's all those numbers, but all we're going to do is look it up. We're going to look it up, folks. And we're going to look at 7%, right? 7%. So here's 7%. So $10 in the first year times the present value multiplier for year number 1. Well, our required rate of return is 7%. So we go across to 7% down year number 1, 0.935. Year number 2, 0.873. Year number 3, 0.816. You got it? 0.935, 0.873, 0.816. Let's see if I did it right. 0.935, 0.873, 0.816. I did. So we multiply $10 times the present value multiplier of 0.935 and get $9.35. We multiply $10 times the present value multiplier of 0.873 or $8.73, and the $10 plus 0.816, $8.16, and that gives us $26.24, which is the same result that we got using the exponential formula. Cool. So what is the present value of this future stream of dividends? At 7%, $10 today, $10 for a year from now is worth to us today $9.35. $10 2 years from now is worth to us today, the present value, $8.73, and $10 in 3 years is worth $8.16. We add those three things up, and that gives us what the stock is worth to us today, assuming it pays $10 per year and then promptly goes out of business. Not a great assumption. And so here we do it again. We just showed you the table. Here's just a piece of the table. The 7% for year number 1, the 7% for year number 2, and the 7% for year number 3. Okay, you're a little confused. I know a lot of numbers, but stop and just go back over the last 2 slides and realize that all we're doing is grabbing this number from the table. It's a good idea to print it out, but you have it on your screen. And using them to multiply the dividend for year number 1. That's what we're going to get in year number 1. Dividend in year number 2, and then dividend in year number 3. And we add those 3 up, and that's what the $30, because we're going to get $30 total over the next 3 years. But what is it worth to us today? At 7%, it's worth $26.24. Now, do it again at 6% or 10%. You see? That's why our choice of required rate of return is so important. It basically is the determiner. It's the determining factor of what the valuation we're going to give the individual stock. Cool. Okay, so I hope you are with us, because now we're going to take it one step further. Our example did not take into account the stock will still have worth at the end of the 3 years. Remember, we said how many companies pay 3 dividends and then promptly go out of business? To make the model more useful, we simply add our predicted market price of the stock at the end of the 3 years. We treat the price of the stock at the end of the 3 years as a future cash flow. Are you with me? because the stock will still have some value. Now, we don't know what it's going to be. We have to predict what it's going to be 3 years from now, which means 99.99% of the time we're going to be wrong, but we still have to come up with some kind of prediction. So the value of the stock is equal to the present value of the future dividends plus the present value of the price of the stock when we plan to sell. So we, again, use the present value multipliers. As we've said, as with the other dividend discount models, the model is very sensitive to our estimates and our choice of required rate of return. And hence, the results will vary wildly. We know that going into this. We know that we are just putting our finger up in the air and seeing which way the wind is blowing. So let's say the current stock price is $125, and we predict the market price of the stock will be $135 at the end of the 3 years. So we use this spreadsheet and this little table, and if these things scare you, it's just making it easier. I think it's easier to see. We put in year number 1, year number 2, year number 3, year number 3. Wait a minute. Why do we have year number 2, year number 3s? Because the dividend in year number 3, we're going to get the $10. Plus, at the end of the 3 years, we expect the stock price to be $135. So that's why in year number 1, we used the present value multiplier for year number 1 for the $10 dividend. And then in year number 2, we used the present multiplier for year number 2 for the $10 dividend in year number 2. And then we use the same present value multiplier for year number 3 for the $10 dividend and the expected stock price at the end of year number 3. So those are the same 3 calculations we did before. The 3 dividends, $9.35, $8.73, and $8.16. And now we take the $135 and we use the present value multiplier for year number 3 for 7%, 0.816. And we see that the $135 that we expect to receive in 3 years is really only worth to us $110.16. We add those present value discounted cash flows, present values, the discounted cash flows, and we get $136.40. So our model says that the present value of the future stream of cash flows from this stock is worth $136.40. The current market price is only $125. So therefore, the market is telling us that this is a potentially good investment for us if we require 7%. Now, run it again at 13%, it might not say, it might say, oh, forget it. It's not going to give you that 13%. That's why the discount rate, the required rate of return, the expected rate of return, the desired rate of return is so important. Because as we change that, the model results change dramatically. So cool. Do these calculations. Make sure you understand them. Make sure you understand where we got these numbers from. And if you don't, that's why I get paid the big... That's why I'm here, to help you. We want you to be awesome. We want you to be the best stock pickers that world has ever seen. And so now let's take a look at an example number 2. Pretzels Unlimited, symbol is PU, is currently selling for $22 per share. And we believe, this is what the company's told us, they're going to pay $2 per share in 2022. Pretzels Unlimited expects to increase their dividends to $2.20 in 2023, $2.30 in 2024, and $2.30 in 2025. We will be selling the stock at the end of 2025, and we expect the price to be $27 per share at that time. So our required rate of return, say 12%. Are you with me, folks? You see what's going on here? $22 in 2022. I'm sorry, $2 in 2022. It's selling for $22. We have to pay $22 to buy the stock. The dividends in 2023, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Oops, sorry. The dividends in 2023 are going to be $2.20. The dividends in 2024 are $2.30. The dividends in 2025 will be $2.30. We think they're not really going to up them in a couple of years. Why don't we say that? We're not sure. We just believe it. Will we be selling the stock? We will be selling the stock at the end of 2025, And we expect the price to go from $22 to $27 in that time. And our required rate of return is 12%. So these are all the assumptions we're making. If we use the numbers, let's go to the table, and if we run on over, come on, how do I get to 12? How do I get over here? 12%. There's 12%. So we grab these four numbers: 0.893, 0.797, 0.712, 0.636. So remember those four numbers, right? Because we're going across to 12% and down years 1, 2, 3, 4, 0.893, 0.797, 0.712, 0.636, and there they are, 0.893, 0.797, 0.712, 0.636. So those are all the dividends. We're computing the present value for the future dividends. And then we use the same one as year number 4, $27.636, the dividend in the present value multiplier for year number 4. And we believe the stock is going to be worth $27. And so if we add all those up, we believe it is worth $23.81 if our required rate of return is 12%. With a market price of only $22, this is telling us that this is a potentially good investment. Are you with me, folks? Makes sense? Do it. Do the calculations. And now what I like to do, as I said, is turn it into a table, because I just think it's easier. Put the years on the left-hand side, the cash flows next, and notice that we're putting the 4 dividends, and then the stock price is next. So that's why we got 2025 doubled. We put in the present value multipliers, and notice the present value multiplier is the same for the last year. Don't trip up. We're gonna change it in just a minute, so just hang on with us. We then multiply the $2 times 0.893, the $2.20, 0.797, the $2.30, $2.30, $27, and we get $23.81 approximately. We're not trying to be precise. Here is the problem in a table format, a spreadsheet format. I think it is much easier to comprehend and calculate in this format, yes? But we can simplify it a bit. We can say, look, let's take the cash flows in the first 3 years as dividends, but then in the 4th year, let's combine the dividend in the 4th year, $2.30, plus the expected stock price of $27, and we get $29.30 that we're going to get, assuming we get the dividend in the year number 4, 2025, and the stock price is somewhere around $27. So then we multiply the present value multipliers times the future cash flows, and we get the discounted cash flows. I know, a terrible name, but that's the name they use them. Or the present values, the present values of the cash flows. And we get $23.81. It's selling for $22. And so the model is telling us, yeah, you might just get your 12%, assuming everything goes the way you think it's going to go, which ain't going to happen. Adding the dividend and the stock price in the last year saves us a couple of calculations, but more importantly, it allows us to use a special spreadsheet function to calculate the internal rate of return. See, I told you were going to be official investment gurus, and official investment gurus understand not only discounted cash flows, they can compute the internal rate of return. Given a spreadsheet, because doing it manually is a real pain in the patootie. The internal rate of return is a measure of what rate of return we expect to get from a series of cash flows, including both positive and negative flows. We've been just looking at the positive flows. Someday when you take an upper level or graduate finance or investment class, you will learn how to manually compute internal rate of return. Hopefully, you will not have a sadistic professor who will require you to calculate it manually more than once. It's really not that hard. It's just very time consuming. And that's why we have computers, right? We're simply going to enter the number into a spreadsheet formula and press the enter key. In other words, we desire, we expect a 12% rate of return from Pretzels Unlimited. But what do our numbers tell us will be our expected rate of return? The internal rate of return can tell us that. we create a spreadsheet. And I know some of you might never have used Excel or Google Docs, because Google Docs is free and that's what we use here. Or LibreOffice or OpenOffice, but they're really just like a big bingo game. It's a big calculator that's in the shape of a bingo game. This is B1, this is A1, there's B2 and B3 and B4. So the spreadsheet formula here in cell B, whatever it is, B7, right, is equal to the internal rate of return. So you have to put the equal sign there. And IRR stands for internal rate of return. Open parentheses B2 through B6. That's what the B2 colon B6 means. Look at the numbers in B2, B3, B4, B5, and B6. And notice that we have to put in the negative $22. That was what we had to pay for the investment. We didn't get it for free unless somebody gave us the shares, right? We had to pay $22. And then we got $2 in 2022, we're expecting to get $2 in 2023, $2.30 in 2024, and then the $2.30 plus the $27 expected rate of return, expected proceeds from the sale of the stock. And that gives us a formula that's B2 through B6. And then notice that we put the approximate rate of return. That's just our guess. You can leave it at 0, and the computer will do its best to find the number. But you can put in, well, I think it's going to be 12% or something like that. Just put in a guess or leave it 0 and let the computer decide. And you see, the internal rate of return is saying, look, if you get the numbers that you expect to get, you're actually going to wind up with a 14.5% rate of return. Now, internal rate of return is very tricky. Sometimes it gives you weird results, or sometimes they can't even find it. If you get rid of the $22 negative, having to pay for it, it'll just look at you and say, nobody can get that for free, unless somebody gives it to them, your parents or whatever, your grandparents. You got to pay for the darn thing. And that's the internal rate of return. And now, dear students, you have emerged. You're going to be using the discounted cash flow model, and you're going to be using the internal rate of return spreadsheet, and you are now full-fledged investment gurus. But wait, there's more. First, let's take a look at the spreadsheet itself. Now, the spreadsheet is on the website. I already have it called up, so I'm not going to click on there. So here it goes down to the Pretzels Unlimited Discounted Cash Flow spreadsheet, and here it is. Okay, so now notice. We put in the cash flows. Boom. We put in the $2 for 2022, the $2.20 for 2023, the $2.24 for $2.30 for 2024, and then the $2.30. Notice I did the calculation I could have done it with a calculator, but $2.30 plus $27 for 2025. Hope I didn't mess it up. Notice the spreadsheet does the present value multipliers for us. See, the spreadsheet's really tricky. It can do lots of cool things. Notice we can say the stock is worth $22 now. It's the market price, and we want 10%. Oh, it's supposed to be 12%, duh. I changed it, I guess, playing with it. So you see, it says $23.80. It's a penny off because the tables are only used 3 digits, where these things, even though they're showing you 3 digits, they're actually using 20. So $23.80. You with me? You with me? Now watch. See, I should have checked before I did this, huh? Watch if I change it to 10%. Now wait a minute. Why is it? It should be percentage. There we go. That's better. I must have been goofing with it. My apologies. So if we change it to 10%, all of a sudden it's worth more. It's worth $25.38. If we change it to 15%, then it's only worth $21.67. You see how sensitive the model is to our required rate of return? Indeed. Now, this is the best part. Over here on the next page, these are little pages, tabs, or whatever, sheet tabs, or whatever you call them. Here is the same. We don't have to put anything in. It grabbed the data from the previous page. But notice, it has the $2 and the negative $22 that we have to buy it for because the price is $22, and then the $2 for 2022, $2 for 2023, $2.30 for 2024, and $29.30, and there's the internal rate of return calculation. And remember, we have to put in the price. Note it, the price is on the previous page. So if we go back here, and if the price now is $26, let's make it $26, the internal rate of return says, hey, you're only going to get 9%. You see how powerful these models are? They're very, very powerful. But again, we're going to say it one more time. We know that these numbers are just putting our finger up, seeing which way the wind blows, looking at the sky, seeing if it looks cloudy or sunny or whatever. We know that going in. Cool? I hope so. Now, as we said, here's the best part, because this model can not only be used when a company is paying dividends and then the predicted price of the stock after 3, 4, 5 years. We can also use the model with a stock that doesn't pay any dividends. Here's another company, Genes or Us. You know what the one chromosome said to the other chromosome? Do these genes make me look fat? That's a biotechnology joke. The symbol is GRUS, and it's currently selling for $21 a share. It pays no dividends. It doesn't have any earnings. It's losing money. They're trying to create this new drug that can cure baldness or make us thin or whatever. It's one of these biotech companies that could change the world or disappear from the face of the earth. We believe that in 5 years, it's going to be worth $50. And we want a required rate of return of 13%. How can we determine if this is a potentially good investment? With no dividends, which model can we use? We can still use the discounted cash flow model. Because remember, the formula says the present value of the future dividends. Well, if there's no dividends, that's zero. That's easy. 0 times anything is 0. But we believe the stock is going to be worth $50 in 3 years. Okay, that's a future cash flow. What is it worth to us today? Well, we need to know our discount rate, our required rate of return. And if it is 13%, then we go to the table, we go to 13%, and 5 years, it says 0.543. You see that? Very important. Remember that. So now we go back to the model here. We go back to the model. $0 from the dividends. There's no dividends. $50 times 0.543. The model is telling us that if this $21 stock becomes $50 in 5 years, it's really worth to us today $27.15. Unlike the other dividend discount models, the discounted cash flow model can still be used if there are no dividends. We simply treat the expected future price of the stock as a single future cash flow. Very cool. Very, very cool. So now let's apply the 2 spreadsheets to Genes or Us. Look, the one spreadsheet that does the discounted cash flows is kind of boring because there's 0, 0, 0, 0. We don't really need to do this because the first 4 years it's not worth anything to us. But the 5th year, we believe it's going to be worth $50 times the 0.543, so $27.15. Now, when we do the internal rate of return, we start with the initial cash flow of $21. There are no dividends, but in 5 years, we expect the price to be $50, and the internal rate of return from B2 to B7, because this is 5 years, the pretzels was only 4 years, and we put in 13%, we could have just left it blank. It's telling us that if we indeed see the stock price go from $21 to $50, we're going to see at almost 19% rate of return. Now, hopefully by now, you are seeing the risk versus reward profile of the 2 different companies. A company that's been making pretzels since before World War II, almost 100 years, is a whole lot different, and paying dividends and growing those dividends is a whole lot different than a company that's trying to cure baldness and probably is going to fail, or maybe it maybe works, but then it turns the person's liver into pate, or has a third eye grow out of the middle of their forehead. You see the risk versus return profile? And so now, am I saying you should never invest in a Jeans R Us? No, not at all. But just you'll have your eyes open. You'll realize that this is the kind of company that could be $50 or $500 in 5 years or 50 cents. Whereas pretzels on, right, it's boring. Cool. Now, these are just a few of the many valuation models that are out there, folks. The residual income model is very similar to the Gordon growth model, but instead it uses earnings instead of dividends. The free cash flow model takes the residual income model one step further, taking into account non-cash expense items. That's the next chapter. And then the price ratio models use price ratios and estimated growth to predict the future price of a stock. And we'll take a look at price ratio models in the next chapter. There are many out there, folks. You have the rest of your investing career to explore them. Please contact me when you find one is better than the discounted cash flow model for dividend-producing companies, okay? One of the best models for growth stocks, and these, can be used for growth stocks, but we mostly use it for dividend-paying stocks, is the betterinvesting.org stock selection guide. Now, this is a great group, Better Investing, the National Association of Investors Corporation. They've been around since 1951. We're going to have at least one guest speaker to talk. I can show you the model, but I'm not that good at it. I get the heebie-jeebies because they shoot for 15% rate of return. Okay, they want to get a 15% rate of return. I shoot for 7, 8, 9%, 8%. I'm happy with 8, 9, 10%. And so they get me nervous. My hands start shaking. I get nervous when they talk about, let's invest in this company that's skyrocketing. And yeah, you know what happens with some of those companies. Not all of them. Some of them become the next Google or the next Microsoft or the next Amazon. But a lot of them become the next GoPro. Or yeah, GameStop or AMC, whatever. So as we said, you have the rest of your life to play with these and to learn about these. And so join our chat group and check out one, and then send us a link and tell us how you did. Create your spreadsheet and show us the world. Show the world how awesome you are. Slide 36. Okay, Payano. Okay. This is all great. But just where are we supposed to get all this historical information anyway? And just who decides what next year's earnings or dividends are going to be? The dividend growth rate? The expected stock price in 3, 4, 5 years? I mean, come on. We just made up these numbers. Before the internet, BI, this information was not readily available. You would ask your broker for it, or you would use one of the securities industry's trusted information sources. And traditionally, that one source for many individuals, along with, don't forget, the company's going to give you the 10Ks and the 10Qs, the annual reports, the quarterly reports, so don't forget that information. And we'll use that in the next chapter. And the most respected source was, and still is, in my humble opinion, the value line. The value line. And this is where we will begin our final presentation for Chapter 4. We will take Chapter 4. Yeah, we will the fourth presentation of Chapter 4. We will dig deep into the value line. Very, very cool. Now, stop. I got to calm down and plead and beg and just get on my knees. Go through worksheet number 1. Go through worksheet number 2. There are answer keys. There are commentaries. There are spreadsheets. Do these problems over and over and over again. We do them in the face-to-face session over and over and over again. So watch some of the face-to-face sessions that are recorded, because you can't leave Business 123 without knowing how to do the dividend discount models and the discounted cash flow models. It is bad for my self-esteem. Do you understand? I get so upset when the students just won't learn it because it's numbers and they hate numbers and they'd rather not eat barbed wire than do the calculations. But once you do them a few times, they're really very easy. They're very, especially if you start playing with the spreadsheets and banging away at the spreadsheet. And so, and of course, we want you to succeed. So contact me. All right, get off my knees and just say, be awesome, dear students. You are now investment gurus. You no longer will look at a stock and just say, well, what's the price? You will look at that stock as a potential future, what kind of future cash flows it will give to us, and what are the value of those cash flows, depending upon what kind of rate of return we're interested in. And also you will be able to discern, it's a judgment, it takes years, and sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong, but you'll be able to discern the risk, potential risk versus the potential reward. We are so proud of you. Go do those worksheets right now. Do them again, do them over again, hide the answers, do them again, and then go do the assignment for chapter number 4, which is, the first assignment is all phony companies. The second assignment is a real company, 2 real companies that you're going to choose. Go to the library and or download it from the Infernal Net, because Value Line is going to give you some information for free, the 30 Dow Jones Industrial Average stocks. And when we come back, we'll show you how to utilize the Value Line. Dear students, we are so proud of you.